I'm Damon Tashawn Carrigan, forward at Florida International University from Boston, Massachusetts. What made me fall in love with the sport of basketball was its competitiveness. It's one of the only sports that I know that can go from a team sport to an individual making such an impact on it. What I could say about the brotherhood of my team right now is a lot. We're a whole bunch of different characters that fit well together. You see it on the court, we flow together very well. It's just a fast motion, pace. It's like poetry when I'm with my brothers. My relationship with the coaching staff here at Florida International has been great so far. They have your back here 100%. They treat you like family. All I want for myself is just to be the best I possibly can be. FIU is a great place to be. Consider it home already. Love Miami. Only thing I want to say to our fans is be on notice.
For 25 years, Conference USA student athletes have done things the only way that we know how, the CUSA way. In that quarter of a century, we've learned a thing or two about winning, both on and off the field. Our student athletes are more than just great athletes. They're fantastic students, and they're outstanding citizens who give back to their communities. We're committed to excellence. We are stronger together. That's the CUSA way.
Well, it's just another perfect winter day on the campus of FIU. Temps in the 80s. We're midway through February, and we're looking forward to the postseason. Just a couple games away. 4 games to go. Bonus play begins soon here at FIU, and excited for what's coming up for FIU basketball. Welcome into another edition of Panther Talk Live. AJ Ricketts, that's Jeremy Ballard. Thanks for joining us on your favorite Facebook Live local streaming link. All right, let's talk about where we are at this point in the season, Coach. Obviously, though, a tough pair of games on the road. Life is always tough on the road in Conference USA, but you step back, you take a bigger look at what the team's done. Without Tevin Brewer, spaces the floor, great shooter. Without Dante Wilcox and C.D. Cato, front court depth for Osasu and Damon. Heading into bonus play, the team's at 17 wins, 8 wins, I think, in conference play. You have to be happy with where the team's at right now, despite 1 or 2 games recently here.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you're coaching a team in life in general, I think you have to be able to keep perspective and everything. You have to be able to judge things on the process and what the journey is. And we've definitely shown a ton of growth this year. We've faced a lot of adversity that's beyond our control.
Yeah.
And I think we've continuously responded to that adversity. We certainly faced some adversity on the road this past week. Didn't always do the best job of handling it, but it's a lot harder on the road, especially when you're playing against some of the better teams, and then when you have injuries, those things tend to add up. But I'm proud of the team. I'm proud of where we're at. We've already guaranteed the best finish in Conference USA history. So we're ready to get better at this time off that we have, to come closer together,
yeah,
and to get ready to make a run at it these last 4 games of pod play.
And even with the past games, Thursday and Saturday, you look at the body of work over the course of the season in comparison to the rest of the conference. We have the 4th most road victories of all Conference USA teams this season throughout the course of the whole year. So impressive, certainly in terms of that facet. Let's take a look at what's coming up here for FIU. The bonus play schedule just released yesterday afternoon for all 3 pods. Here's what we've got. February 27th against North Texas. We'll follow that up with a road game at Charlotte, La Tech, and then at home against Western Kentucky to conclude the regular season. As you take a look at the TV networks, those will be on as well. So essentially, this week, a bye week for the Panthers. Next game will be next Thursday on Stadium against North Texas, who finished atop the league. And then the final home game will be on CBS Sports Network on Facebook. So as you take a look at that pod, Coach, first of all, great success to be grouped with these teams. The first pod, nearly got in that 4th or 3rd spot, depending on how last week went. But in competition with those teams, some fun matchups coming up at home starting next week with North Texas. But a great time to have a little bit of a break to prep for that final surge.
Yeah, this break is everything. We have not had a bye week. We have not had a bye date. So, I think scheduling gods were good to us.
Yeah.
We get a chance to get healthy, to get rested, to get better. And then these first 3 games, I mean, it's a revenge tour for us. It's 3 games that, and none of those 3 do we feel that we played our best. And when you don't play your best against three really good teams, the result's not going to be favorable. So we know that we can be better. We're motivated. We understand that the other teams in this top pod are the best teams in this conference, and they're going to be equally as motivated. So we're excited for this challenge. We're excited to be in a place that's really unprecedented for FIU, and we want to make sure we finish strong.
I want to talk about some of the positives of both the last couple games and what preceded that, because I don't think we've chatted since the FAU games as well. Here against La Tech and Southern Miss, we go to the La Tech game. Coach, 3 of our best shooters were 0 for 15 from beyond the arc. You're on the road at a team that has the 7th best winning percentage at home since 2012, and you have a chance to tie on the final possession. And then, of course, Southern Miss, goes down in the first 30 seconds. DA was out for a period of time, and you're down 11 with a minute left, and you cut it down to 3, had a chance to get it to 1. There's some good fight in these past 2 games from the guys.
Absolutely. I told our team in the locker room at the end of the Southern Miss game, adversity introduces a man to himself. So, hey, we got introduced to who we really are this past week. And it's not the first time we faced adversity. That's certainly not going to be the last time. But it gives us an unbelievable opportunity to grow together, to come together. And we're excited about that. We did some good things this past week in light of what we were facing. But we know we need to be a lot better in this pod play.
All right, so rewind a little further. I mean, that was an impressive 4-game stretch. You took 3 out of 4. After the Marshall game, a huge win against Western Kentucky, and then at home against FAU, on the road against FAU, has a number of impressive wins this year. And in the second half, on the road against FAU, we take a look at some of the best plays from the whole win. But Antonio Day took over in that second half, tied a career high with 20 points, and really just showed tremendous leadership in that second half and helped spark that comeback. That was a lot of fun in Boca.
Well, you want to talk about responding to adversity. AD had 3 fouls in the first half.
Yeah.
And, I think I said after the game with you, AJ, that, last year Tone probably wouldn't have been able to respond from that first half and from having to sit and from having to play with those fouls. But he did a phenomenal job. He really led us. Our guys were with him the entire time. And he had 20 points in the second half, but it took the entire team effort to pull out that road victory.
What was going wrong, or what did you, adjustment-wise, did you feel the team could look to? Obviously, Antonio Day getting to the bucket was a huge part of the second half, but where do you feel in terms of gameplay, the guys made a big jump from one half to the next to get back in that game and eventually take the lead?
We tightened our defense up a lot more. I think we did a better job of taking care of the ball, a much better job of taking care of the ball in the second half and taking good shots. But it wasn't pretty. It was a grimy game, and we had to get in the trenches to be able to come out with it. And we did that, and we were able to come away with the victory.
4-1 against the Owls the last 2 years. You always loved that winning percentage against FAU. We got to talk about your senior big man here as well in the season. It's been a couple of weeks. Obviously went down. We're hoping he's able to get back soon after that tough injury at Southern Miss. But regardless, and what a season Osasu Osagai has had, of course, leads the country and blocks shots. His story has been well chronicled the last couple of weeks. Started as a walk-on, only 12 minutes his freshman year. When you came into the program, when you're evaluating the players you have, what their strengths, what their skill sets are, where did you feel he could improve? How did he take such a big jump so quickly in the big picture of things? What was your initial internal scouting report of him and where he could improve?
Well, when I watched film and then really looked at the stats and really looked at how his stats projected out to per 40-minute stats, I saw things on film like he was very good vertically. He had a really good knack for blocking shots. He was really hungry to block shots and protect the rim. And with his ability vertically, I thought with the system that we would employ on the offensive end, I thought that he could really become a force offensively, and I knew he could be a force defensively.
Yeah.
But the credit really goes to him. I mean, he worked on his game. He worked on his body. He bought into our system. He worked with our assistant coaches tirelessly. And it's allowed him to have this success. But he's also got success because of the people around him. And they do a good job of providing spacing for him, delivering the ball to him in places where he can score. The other thing is I think he's still number 2 in the country in field goal percentage.
Yeah.
So he's incredibly efficient on the offensive end, and I said it all year long. For my money, the most impactful defensive player in the country.
How difficult is it to improve offensive capability for a big? talk about the footwork. There's a lot of muscle memory ingrained with a lot of players for their best post moves coming into college. Develop a single move. It seems like it's not the easiest thing to do. What is key when you're developing the offensive repertoire of a big man like O? Because it isn't just the block shots. It's as you mentioned, the offensive production.
Right. Well, it's incredibly difficult to improve that, especially this late.
It's not just getting up shots.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's our coaches, spearheaded by Coach Bob, who works primarily with the post guys, but all of our coaches, Coach Kason, Coach Joey as well. They really did a great job of breaking down parts of our offense, parts of our system, and breaking it down for him and doing skill development things that would translate to exactly what he would need to do to be successful in our system. And it's paid off. And O has bought into that. O spends a lot of time in the gym with coaches and on his own, and it's paid off. But most importantly, he's impacted winning in these last 2 years. We had the second most wins in school history, most Conference USA wins in school history last year. We're in the top pod now, and that's the most impactful stat for him as a senior, as well as our other seniors, Trajan and Devon.
Well, it's been fun. He's certainly a guy that's not just getting buckets off dump-off passes from a guard that penetrates. He's been a back-to-the-basket guy. The first bucket we had against FAU at home, the spin move in the paint, which I think was in the open floor too, in transition. He's got a number of moves he can go to. That's a lot of fun to watch. We're starting to wrap things up here, Coach. I want to step away from FIU for a second. We all watched the All-Star festivities this weekend. A huge controversy for me is that dunk contest and the way that finished up. I don't know which side you were on, but I want to hear your take on the biggest controversy of the weekend, maybe the biggest robbery of the weekend, depending on your perspective. What are your thoughts on that finish between Derek Jones Jr. and AG?
Well, obviously that was a special dunk contest, by all accounts, one of the best dunk contests of all time, if not the best. But what stood out for me personally, selfishly, is that we all got to enjoy it together.
Yeah.
And we were coming off a loss where we lost one of our best players. But for us to all be able to come together, with this All-Star weekend and to be in our meeting room and us all be there, going crazy about the dunks with the players and the staff, that was awesome. And those are the kinds of moments that, I think people outside of the locker room, they don't get to witness, and they don't understand how important those are and why it's so special to be a part of a team. That being said, man, you get 5 straight perfect scores in the way that Aaron Gordon did, man. It's
tough to walk away without a trophy.
Tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
It'd have been nice to probably, at some point just be like, hey, you guys both won it.
I think they were about to do that too, or go to a judge's vote.
So I'm hearing that I guess the judges their plan was to make it a tie, and someone messed up the score on the last one, but conspiracies.
Dwayne Wade posted on Instagram, a confused look, and he's essentially saying, look, I wasn't the only one who gave him a 9.
Right.
There are 2 other people who gave him a 9. It wasn't just me. My face when people say, why'd you give him a 9? Well, 2 other people did. What do you think about the way they finished the game last night? That was kind of a neat concept. I think they called the Elam ending, where you have the set number.
Really familiar with that Elam ending. Actually, Joey Rodriguez on our staff, coached his VCU alumni team for 2 years in the TBT tournament, and that's where that ending had originated. Yeah. And I loved it. The thing about it is you guarantee a game-winning shot in every game, and also it's how we all grew up playing. At the park, at the playground, in your backyard. You play to a score. You play to a final score. So it was good. That All-Star game was awesome. That fourth quarter is what it's all about. I think this weekend really showed why the NBA is so special and why basketball is so special.
Once they decided they wanted to play, once they decided it was time,
they locked in.
And who disliked that the most probably? The 3 officials.
Yeah, for sure.
What had become a glorified scrimmage, then turned into just another regular postseason type of game. You're getting heat from the 10 best players in the world on the court, every call, every region. Right. Shout out to Kyle Lowry, too, for drawing nearly 2 charges. Charging an All-Star game.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was
unprecedented.
Awesome, but, those guys, they were going crazy on every call.
Yeah.
They were living and dying on every play. I mean, that was like Game 7 NBA Finals level intensity.
I wouldn't mind one game a year in college basketball or NBA going to that Elam. I wouldn't mind. There's a long article in The Athletic about all the philosophy behind it or whatnot. I have to take a look at that. But it would be cool to see one time and you know how the intensity even ratchets up even more than it already was. As we start finishing things up here, one more note. The crowds for our last couple games were phenomenal. Even starting with Middle Tennessee and then UAB. And then, I mean, look at this. That was FAU, nearly a sellout. This is what we need moving forward. We got 2 more home games against 2 of the best teams in the conference, and we need to bring that same type of energy.
Absolutely. I want to first thank all the people that showed up to the game, and you know, it made a huge difference for us. Our players fed off their energy. They fed off their spirit and emotion, and we played well. So we are grateful to everyone that showed up. We are eternally grateful to the marketing department, the ticketing office, everyone that worked tirelessly to get fans in the seats. We're incredibly appreciative of that. So thank you to everyone that made that possible. And please, we got 2 more home games on the year. If you can continue that work, I know it's asking a lot, but it makes a huge difference. And we're playing for more than FIU has ever played for in Conference USA history. So, you know, any and all support we get will be greatly appreciated, and it will go a long way to helping us be successful.
Yeah, it's going to be great energy, hopefully, the final 2 games. And I tell you, I know we celebrated Senior Day already, but come that final home game against Western Kentucky, I mean, there's something a little bit different when you actually know it's the last time you suit up in your home gym in front of your fans. So hopefully that's the traditional Senior Day, the final one. Hopefully we get a great crowd for that as we move forward. Well, Coach, we got 10 days till our next one. Get some rest with the guys. Appreciate you. Thanks. One more thing. Baseball, heck of a weekend for the blue and gold out on the diamond. 42 combined runs over the course of this weekend. No, sorry, 46. I underwhelmed there. 45 hits, 4 dingers, and 8 doubles. What a weekend it was for FIU baseball. Concluded it with an 18-2 win on Sunday. Squad's looking good in the early going and having some fun as well. Hoping to replicate that success on the hardwood moving forward. Thanks for joining us on Panther Talk Live. FIU basketball back at home next Thursday against North Texas. We'll see you there. Make it a great week. Pulse up, fam.